What's up, guys? Tonight I'm going to be going over a 4 album analysis. A couple of them are from the Finnish black metal scene around the 2000s. You obviously know these bands. They're more beginner bands. I mean, to an extent, but Finnish black metal is definitely probably my favorite scene when it comes like Scandinavia, Finland, and all that. And obviously, I start off with Norwegian. That's the way to start for getting into black metal and shit. So. Yeah, I mean, the Finnish scene's really strong. I think I've read somewhere that I think I said this in one of the videos I've already done, but either I think Finland has the highest number of people who are into like metal, so that can tell you all the good music that comes from there. But yeah, we're going over 2 Finnish black metal bands and a death, doom, Halloween, stoner doom band from the US. I can't remember what state they're from. I think it's up north from where I am. I'm in South Florida, but and we're also going over a German black metal band. So yeah, 4 album analysis. They're gonna be pretty amateur, I'm just starting to make content and shit, so more amateur and more brief, I could say. I'd rather just do 1 album in each video, but like I can only say so much about each one, I feel like, for like me personally. So we'll get to the first one. The first one we have is the almighty Finnish Steel Storm by Goat Moon. Show you guys the back, 10 tracks. The album cover is just majestic. It's a classic black metal album cover. Sure, it's not going over anything new or anything, but it really works well. I think it's an epic album cover, so that's already a good sign, if you think it's going to be a good album. And yeah, like I said, 10 tracks. They're all short to mid-length like most Goat Moon songs are. Though occasionally they'll have a song over 6 minutes, but the longest song we have on this album is Finnish Steel Storm, the title track. And man, that gives me chills every time I listen to it. It's just such a fucking melodic, majestic. It's so perfect as is. And I feel like this album mixed the primitive, raw, angry, themes from Death Before Dishonor, their first release, and then added the precision of melodic folk instruments, out of this world riffing. I feel like it's like the perfect mix with the new elements they'd bring in the later albums, plus like I said, the raw, cold, grim primitiveness of Death Before Dishonor. I'll show you guys the variant I got. So there's a few variants. I kind of wish I got the blue variant just because, the Finnish flag, it's called Finnish Steel Storm. So I'm like, damn, I kind of slept on that. I mean, I'm sure they still have it on Hell's Headbangers. Maybe not. I mean, these got reissued in like May, so maybe they don't still have it. But I got the green, translucent green LP, and as far as I know, this was the most limited variant that Hell's Headbanger had, but like I said, I wish I got the blue LP. But some of my favorite tracks, the first 5 tracks are completely untouchable. You had Eclipse by Raven Wings, Alone, Bitter Winter of Depression, or what is that what it's called completely? It's yeah, Bitter Winter of Depression. And then you have the song, I don't know if it's in Finnish or German, honestly, I can't tell, but that song's really good. Those first few riffs and that first like screech, raspy vocal, like, oh, it really makes the atmosphere very, I've said this word like 10 times already, but it's very majestic. It's very tormented, it's suffering, it's hatred, it's fuck the system, fuck, your friends, fuck you, fuck your family, it's just fuck everything. But yeah, and then like I said, the title track, which is the longest song, it's just over 6 minutes. So yeah, the first 5 songs are completely untouchable, and the second half does not disappoint either, I would say. Force of My Native Soil is definitely a strong one. Mythical Story, Murder, Murder, Glorious. Those are probably my 3 favorite songs out of the second half of the album. And track 6 and 9, I know one of them's finished the lyrics, but those songs are good. They add to the album for sure. But the song 7, 8, 10, Murder, Murder, Glorious, Mythical Story, Force of My Native Soil are definitely the highlights of the second half of the album. But that shows you 8 out of 10 songs just being completely perfect. That shows you this album is completely untouchable. Sure, it's a controversial band, but they make very good black metal, very hate-induced black metal. They've done a lot for like the black metal genre, and I feel like they have a very consistent discography. I would say their first 2 are untouchable. Their follow-ups, Varja and Voida Tavahalo, are very well done as well. And Stella Polaris is when they kind of started, like, it wasn't bad, but it's good. But they have this what is it? I don't know if it's on the vinyl because they have that on House Headbangers right now, Stella Polaris, and it's like a rock ballad, and I think it's Black Coat's like cleans, and they're just so awful, man. That was like one of the worst. That's probably the worst Goat Moon song ever. But yeah, Varjot's a pretty good album, and I actually haven't really heard their newest album. I don't even remember what it's called. It's like What Once Was or some shit, Shelby or But that album, I have to give it more listen. I'm just waiting until they make vinyl. I listened to it briefly on YouTube, but honestly, I can't remember much of it. But I've heard for some people, it goes back to the more raw, primitive approach in like the early albums, especially Death Before Dishonor. So that might be something I'm interested in because I really like Death Before Dishonor. But yeah, that's my analysis on Goat Moon, Finnish Steel Storm. Alright, next album we're going over is a German black metal band, like I said in the beginning of the video. I'm definitely trying to get more cassettes in my videos. I definitely have more vinyl than anything, and like I always say, CDs are the least interesting, but I'll definitely include some of my CD collection eventually in videos. But yeah, I'm definitely working on up my cassette collection. Right now I have 2 Dead Infection demos. The Gore Grind band, I have 2 of their demos coming, and I have Orlock, which is Werewolf's Stand War Master's side project. They're both full lengths, I think, or maybe they're demos. I looked on Metal Archives, but I can't remember if they're full lengths or demos. But I know it's the 2 like ones, you know, that are more like full length at least. But and I also pre-ordered Worms. How was it? It's like it's not on streaming. I forgot. It's one of Worms' demos that came out before he ever made a studio full length. But I pre-ordered that today, and I got that shit right before it sold out. Like I literally, I said, like I was gonna tell myself right, because I worked early in the morning today, so I was just waiting until 12, and then I kind of lost track, so I was like doing my shit, and I'm like, oh shit, it's like 12:20 something, and I ordered that shit. They still have it in stock, and I ordered that shit real quick, and yeah, I got it just in time, because about 4 or 5 minutes later, I see Phantom Slaughter post on his Instagram story that shit was sold out. I'm like, fuck, I barely just got that shit. I might have even gotten the last one, to be honest, but anyhow, yeah, I'm definitely trying to up my cassette collection. I love cassettes. I probably like them just as much as vinyl, but I'm also saving for a tape deck or receiver and speakers and shit like that, because I play cassettes what's it called? It's a Victorola, and it's a vinyl and CD player, which I know those aren't really good for your records, but that's when I got that when I first started collecting. But right now I have an Audio Technica, and it's more a high-end, low-end Audio Technica, because my Victorola broke without any like warning. So I mean, the vinyl player at least broke, so I'm just like, I gotta get something, you know, somewhat affordable. But the Audio Technica works great. Anyhow, yeah, I'm trying to get a tape deck, so that's definitely something to look forward to. Anyhow, we'll get to the German black metal band Darken Nocturne Slaughter Cult. Saldorian Spell. I forgot the name for a second. Show you guys the cassette. Nothing fancy about it, but so the track Suitor of Death, that's the first Darken Nocturne Slaughter Cult song I ever heard. That was right when I was getting into black metal too, because I had a friend who was getting me more into black metal, and yeah, that track is just, it's horrid. It's very, what makes me think of Darken Nocturne Slaughter Cult is like Animal Bones, paganism, even Satanism, even though they're not really related, but a lot of black metal bands mix it. But Animal Bones, Fire, witches, paganism, all that shit. That's what this like band makes me think of when I hear the vocals, when I hear the atmosphere. I mean, when you listen to the intro, what's the song? But so the Saldorian Spell starts the album, and the creepy music of like a chamber opening or some shit like that. It just sets the tone for the rest of the album, and does a good job for sure. And then you have like other tracks called Cataclysmic Brethrens, I think it's called, if I'm saying that right. It's like track 2 or 3, but that song's really catchy. The vocals are catchy, the riffs are nice, and back to Suitor of Death. Yeah, that's the first song I ever heard by this band, and one of the first. This is actually one of the, I'd say in the first like 10 to 20 black metal bands I got into, which is surprising, because not that they're super underground or anything, but it's not one of your firsts. And I really don't hear this band get talked about enough, but You have, how do you say her name? Annaleer, the guitarist and vocalist. She's one of my favorite female front women. I think I'd probably like her just as much as Holder, if not more. She does great vocals. And what I was about to say is, her vocals in Bethlehem are fucking crazy, man. Like, the self-titled, that's my favorite Bethlehem album, and it features her on vocals, and it's fucking insane. That album has one of the coolest atmospheres, like, great album cover, great everything about it. But yeah, Dark and Nocturne Slaughter Cult. I'm gonna take the cassette out because I kind of forgot a lot of the track names. What else? Saturnine Chapel. That's what finishes off the album. That's one of the heavier songs on the album. That's a great track. Glance at the Horizon's great. I mean, the whole album's good. You know, I have a very broad sense of how I like extreme music. I pretty much like anything that's extreme besides like the core shit maybe. But even then, I like some deathcore. But yeah, pretty much every song. I mean, Beneath the Moon, Scars Above. Yeah, I mean, this album's pretty solid. I think it's one of their more popular albums too, but yeah, that's my amateur Dark and Nocturne Slaughter Cult analysis. I know I didn't say too much about it, but it's definitely one of my favorite albums. What's up, guys? So I kind of lied in the beginning of the video. I said I was doing 4 album analysis, but instead I'm gonna do 3 because I'm already at like 12, 13 minutes of the video. And my goal for videos is to be like just over 10 minutes or maybe a bit longer, but I edit this shit on my phone right now, and if it's like over 20 minutes, then it has to be I'll have to lower the resolution, then go to another app to like higher it. It's just a pain in the ass, so I'm trying to keep the videos, you know, for now to be like over or under 20 minutes because I don't want to deal with all that shit, you know. But yeah, we'll get to it. So, like I said, I didn't lie about the 2 Finnish classics I was doing, or maybe this isn't a Finnish classic, but it's from a classic Finnish black metal band. We have Amen Gander by Satanic War Master, his newest release, his 6th full length. Give you guys a better look. Yeah, so I heard a lot of people say this album's not really black metal, but like the whole like black metal has to have albums like this, lyrics like this. Like there's no rules in metal as a whole. People can do what they want, you know, who am I to say? The only complaint I have about this album is I wish it was a bit longer. The album's under 40 minutes. It's between 30 and 40 minutes, and it feels like it goes by so fast, but anyhow, back to the album cover. I think it's pretty solid. I mean, it kind of reminds me of that meme where it's like silly mode or some shit like that. One of my ex-friends was telling me that. I'm like, wow, it's so fucking true, you know? But I still like the album cover personally. But anyhow, the first song, Baphomet, obviously that's the single he released probably about like 8 months before the album. It was a good bit before the album, and that's a solid track. It definitely grew on me, especially once the album was released, but that's a definite solid track. But then shit gets real good when you hear Duke's Ride. The keyboards, I mean, the whole album has excellent keyboard work, but it is a bit cheesy, which I'm not saying is a bad thing. I don't mind cheesy, you know what I'm saying? Obviously there's limits, but I could see why people would think it's a bit silly, you know, but like I said, I'm not one to tell him how to make his art and shit like that, and I think it sounds really good. But yeah, the keyboards in Duke's Ride are great, the atmosphere is great. I always say atmosphere, but you know, atmosphere is a key component in black metal. But and one of my favorite tracks, if I had to pick my 2 favorite tracks, one of them is going to be Berserk Death. I feel like that's a song a lot of people liked from this album. It's more fast paced, it's catchy. It's a good track. I kind of want to wonder where he got Berserk Death from. I don't know if that's from an anime or a manga or some shit. I don't know if it's from the Berserk show. I'm pretty uneducated on all that type of shit, but I know like Berserk Death, it reminds me of the anime Berserk. But I don't know if that inspired him, because I know Werewolf's kind of like I don't know if he's an anime nerd, but he's some type of nerd. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of metalheads are. But that's a great track, and another really good track, The Eye of Satan. That's a good track. Stuff like the whole album's like more melodic, and I think the production's a bit rawer than Fimbulwinter. I don't think you could get more polished than Fimbulwinter, but yeah, it's a bit more raw, but still very melodic. The riffs are like soaring almost. And yeah, The Eye of Satan really shows that. And then the next song, Darkness Triumpher. I've heard a lot of people when they give like their album analysis on it, that's a song they don't appreciate that much. But me personally, it's definitely in my top 2 favorite songs. Maybe with Berserk Death and that song. I don't know why the riffs, they just like mesmerize me. I don't know. It's a longer track, and I really like longer tracks. So it just I feel like everything works well with that song. It's one of my favorites on there. And then the last song, Amen Gander, if I'm saying that right, that song is good. It ends off the album, but it's probably my actual like least favorite track on the album. I felt like it was the weakest track, but I've heard some other people say that, but it started to grow on them. But I think it's a good track, but it's like I said, it's probably the weakest song on the album, which is slightly disappointing. But I still think this album's great, which is why I got the picture disc. There's no compromise. I personally love picture discs. I've heard a lot of people talk shit about them, like they don't sound good, but I've had no unpleasant experiences with them. But that's why I settled for the fucking picture disc. But yeah, that's my brief amateur analysis on Amen Gander. If I had to rate it out of 10, it'd probably be an 8.5 out of 10, which was probably pretty high for a lot of people. They probably wouldn't rate it that much, but I just love black metal and extreme music, so like I said, I have a variety of things I like. It could be sludge, this, more polished black metal, whatever. It doesn't really matter to me. I just like extreme music. So yeah, this is gonna go on my YouTube, which is deathspells_666, and it's gonna go on my TikTok, or a preview is gonna go on my TikTok and Instagram. Which is that Antichrist Vomit Chalice. And again, thanks for watching. I'll definitely have more coming. I'm trying to make as much content as I can, progress, yada yada. Thanks, guys.